Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show on this Monday night, the 12th of July. And the Joe and Joe Weather Show brought to you by Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs, whether you want to get your home decorated or maybe, just maybe, you want to do this as a business. Give them a call at 631 957 what happened here? Sorry about that. There we go. 631-957-5106. They're at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, right in the heart of Long Island, Southwest Suffolk County. And the website is liholidaylighting.com. So now that you've let go,
well, you just said on the promo there, when you have to do your business.
And you did, and you certainly did.
And I did.
Paul Roman starts off.
I just did a library talk, and we had a lot of questions and answers. I started from 7 o'clock up until literally like 2 or 3 minutes before 8:30.
Right.
And toward the end of the talk, I needed to take care of myself.
Yeah, you had to go to this. You had to go to the sandbox.
I had to go to the sandbox. So you started the show off, and I got back here, and
yeah, exactly. Well, it's that sense of relief. Paul Roman starts off generously super chatting tonight. Thank you so much, Paul. Most appreciated. Thanks for all we do, he says, and enjoying all the severe thunderstorms that we've predicted. Kind of a little bit strange today in a sense that you had some thunderstorms that developed in North Jersey that hit Passaic and Bergen County particularly hard. Tornado warning, flash flood warning, etc. Then there was sort of a gap. You had some storms that developed in central Jersey along 195, and they kind of came and went. And then you had some storms that formed in southeastern Pennsylvania, Joe, in and around Philadelphia, that sat there for hours. There were places that got 5 to 7 inches of rain put down in a really short period of time. A lot of lightning strikes. One of my regulars, Greg Carriga, was messaging me saying that there was a lot of lightning action all over the place, and he could see that there were strikes that happened very close to him. But kind of odd, the frontal boundary set up right across Long Island, just north of New York City, just north of the Jersey-New York state line, and kind of meanders its way westward. I'll show you. We'll bring up the surface map on it in just a second. But it looks like we'll probably have some more opportunities for showers and storms as we move through this week, because there's a lot of tropical air, a lot of weather, weak weather systems, weak troughs moving through. It'll keep us busier on some days and less so on others.
Absolutely. And if you remember yesterday when we were talking about the Storm Prediction Center and their forecast for tomorrow, Tuesday, they pretty much cut off any kind of significant activity for the immediate tri-state area. And I was just saying, and I'm not a severe weather expert, but I said, in my humble opinion, it appeared to me that if the front was going to be as close to us as what had been forecast, that there should have been a greater swath covering our area for not only thunderstorms, but maybe possibly even severe thunderstorms. And indeed, when I looked at the day 2 outlook now for tomorrow, it changed considerably over what we were looking at for day 3 yesterday. Well, and I agree with that front so near to us for the next few days. We're going to have to be dealing with this in one way, shape, or form, or one type of variety or another for the next few days in terms of potential for heavy downpours, lightning strikes, possibly even tornadic activity. We saw a tornado warning pop up in parts of Rockland and Orange County just before 7 o'clock, Joe. Don't know what happened in that region, but get ready, because this is going to be the story, I think, for the next several days.
Well, Joe, they watch this show religiously. They do. I have it on very good authority. In fact, yesterday afternoon when they updated their outlooks, lo and behold, their forecast for Tuesday changed. Um, Coincidence? Could be. I'll leave it open to that very small possibility that it was coincidence, but still a little busy on the radar. Why don't we just let's start off with that tonight and take a look at what's going on. It was active, more active a little while ago. Seems to have calmed down just a little bit. Hang on one second while I bring the window up, and there we go. Da 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 da. Here we are. So there you have it. I mean, it really does look like at this point that the thunderstorms have kind of passed peak. There are actually 2 tornado warnings up right now in the northeastern corner of Pennsylvania. There's a tornado warning. Almost part of it looks like it might even be in Sullivan County, unless you take a look at that. And then there's another one further to the west in northern Pennsylvania, west of 81, well west of 81. So let me take a look and see what the Weather Service is doing here. Let's go to Tornado HQ. Very good site that you can get all your severe weather put down in one page, and it's from all around the country. So at the moment, at least according to, okay, so that radar is a little bit behind. All those tornado warnings, one was in Bradford County in Pennsylvania, tornado warning. The tornado warning also was in Delaware and Wayne County, one in New York, one in PA. Bradford County again, and Susquehanna, Wayne County again. These all expired in just a short time ago. So very busy, and then there were a few others. Here's the one. This was at 6:14 for Bergen, Passaic, Orange, and Rockland. It wasn't a sighting. It was off the radar. So they said that a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. So that's why that warning went up. And yeah, definitely a very busy evening. But you had to be in the wrong place at the wrong time this time around. Long Island getting cut off from severe weather. The Hudson Valley east of the river.
Yes, Christiapedia says on the chat board, I haven't seen a single drop all day. LOL.
Yeah, and here's the reason why. Take a look at this surface map. This was the map plotted at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Look where the front is. The front actually cuts across Long Island on a diagonal, and there's a low analyzed right over New York City. So north and east of there, everybody's got a northeast wind. It was in the low 70s across Connecticut. It was in the 60s in Massachusetts and up in Vermont and New Hampshire. I mean, this is cool marine air thanks to this high that was building in Maine. We talked about this yesterday. I would have thought that this is where, Joe, this is where forecasting is tough. When you're forecasting for your area, what if that stationary front were 20 to 30 miles further to the north? And I think that was maybe what SPC anticipated today when they had the slight risk as far north as they did. The frontal boundary is probably a shade further south than what was forecast. And of course, if you happen to be living in that area, you got to, it makes it a forecast nightmare. The boundary runs across northern Pennsylvania, which sort of explains why we're seeing severe weather up in that region from the west of the Catskills. This boundary tomorrow is going to be lining up north-south, I think, down the Hudson River to New York City to off the New Jersey coast, which kind of explains why the Storm Prediction Center for tomorrow, bring up that map here. And here we go. This is for Tuesday. So if you look at where they have the risk tomorrow, and now they've added a slight risk in eastern Pennsylvania. I mentioned earlier that they might do this. But go east of New York City, east of the Hudson River tomorrow, into Connecticut, Vermont, New Hampshire. That's only general thunderstorms. And in fact, in southeastern New England, eastern Connecticut, Rhode Island, eastern Massachusetts, and most of coastal Maine, no thunderstorms are being forecast. So that's going to be the marine air trying to wedge in.
I'm trying to remember. I seem to remember. I'm not sure if there was actually a toy or whether or not this is from a sitcom. And for whatever reason, I'm hearing the voice of Sheldon Leonard when I'm thinking about this. Loopy doopy. Um, that's the best way to describe this front, Joe. Is kind of like a loopy doopy front,
Yeah,
where again you're not really sure at any given moment where it's looping or doopying for any one given area, who's going to be on which side of the front, what kind of weather you're going to get from it. But it appears that according to the folks over at the Weather Prediction Center, they want to take this front with a little wave on it and just lift it north and east out of our area by Wednesday morning. I'm not sure if that's entirely going to be possible or entirely is going to be true, because there's usually a tendency that these things don't lift out quite as quickly as you think they're going to. But supposedly, this will lift out either by Wednesday morning or during the day Wednesday, and will place us in a really humid and very tropical type air mass with, again, the continued potential of heavy downpours or downpours, if you will. And that's the key, is the movement, like we just saw, as you mentioned, down toward Philadelphia today. If
right.
these things pop up and don't move very quickly and stick around for a while, or you could have a situation where everything is moving, but unfortunately it's moving all in the same direction. A training event, you can end up with quite a bit of rain in a very short interval of time. And this is the kind of a setup, what we're into right now, what we're stuck in right now, that we're going to be looking at for quite a few days to come.
That's good. That pretty much explains, by the way, they got marginal risk for Wednesday, um, up and down from Vermont, New Hampshire, and northeastern New York, all the way down into northeastern Virginia, and they shift the marginal risk line is across, cuts Long Island in half, cuts Connecticut in half, cuts Massachusetts in half, cuts New Hampshire in half. Also, just don't want to leave out some of the other areas that are seeing some severe weather risks today. Uh, and one such area is down in western Florida, although there's not that much that really popped up on the radar, at least so far. Marginal risk that kind of snakes northward up through the Ohio and Tennessee Valley, and also down in the southwest, where there's going to be increasing thunderstorm activity as we go through this week. A lot of this area is under a severe drought, and the rains are going to be substantial over the course of the next 7 days. So that's at least some good news for them. And of course, they've been dealing with that heat wave, which continued today. But that should start to wane a bit as we move through the rest of the week. And then for tomorrow, the other risk areas include the Central Plains, the Western Lakes, on up nosing into the Northern Rockies, and also you see it there in the Southwest. And back to day 3, we're looking at a fairly large area of marginal to slight risk in the upper Mississippi Valley, with general thunderstorms going back out to the west. After that, they kind of, they really don't show anything in their long range. I think this is, we're kind of in a time of year where you sort of have to wait till you get within 2 or 3 days to really figure out. Nothing really stands out obvious at this point when you go in the long range. It's more of a day-to-day thing. I think that's probably I think that's the best way to approach it. Meanwhile, take a look at what I'm dealing with. Now, I'm north of this. The radar, let's give it a quick refresh in the southeast. And you'll notice that there is a rather large area of rain and thunderstorms that have now moved north of Atlanta and heading up into North Georgia. And some of that rain has been significant. It runs east into South Carolina toward Columbia. On that northern fringe is some really strong storms there. And at the rate they're moving, they'll probably be here in a couple of hours, which means they're probably going to keep me up late. And by the way, Joe, I have still, not only did I not hit 90 today, I think I might have gotten to 80 this morning. We've been getting off and on showers and thunderstorms here in the afternoon and evening, and it has kept things relatively pretty bearable, actually. At times, when it rains up here, it gets down into the upper 60s, which feels really good. I have not. I have so far. I've enjoyed quite a nice summer here, at least from the standpoint of temperatures.
Oh, beware, there's still August.
Oh yeah, and
You-
also and here's also September, and
and of course,
and
also
even the first
you're
part of October.
now you're planning to come back for a short while in August, aren't you? For
I will
your
be
dentist
up the week
appointment,
before.
or
Yeah, I have to get my teeth cleaned. Um, no, really,
you'll probably
I come up to get my teeth cleaned. Yeah, I'm probably going to
you
be coming up the week before Labor Day, and I may stay the week after Labor Day too. So it might be a 2 week window in there that I'm up.
and that'll be the 2 week window where extreme heat and oppressive humidity will cover much of the southeast, including your area, and you'll be totally away. You'll get like 10 or 12 days of heat and humidity, and then when it's time for you to go back, that's when Joe's coming back,
Yeah, exactly.
goes away again. So
All right, 7 day rainfalls here. Again, a lot of what you see is convectively driven, and some places are going to wind up with 3, 4, 5 inches of rain. Other places are going to wind up with much less. But you see how it's kind of spread out over about everywhere east of the Rockies. Actually, is going to be dealing with some sort of convective stuff in the next 7 days, and that includes Florida. It's a big dry area in Texas, but also you see the Southwest. Some big rainfall amounts of several or more inches streaming up into Arizona and western New Mexico. So again, the Southwest, which has been in a drought, getting hopefully this will play out. In the meantime, the West Coast, up and down the West Coast from Washington down all the way to California, Southern California, is bone dry. By the way, speaking of rain, take a look at this graphic that I'm going to pull up. This I set it to 14 days. So this is the rainfall that we've seen here in the Northeast in the last 2 weeks. There are a couple of patches there in Southwest Connecticut, Northeastern Connecticut of 10 to 15 inches in the last 2 weeks, and a
ouch.
very large swath. Everything in yellow is at least two. The brownish yellow. Before you get into the greens, that's all at least two. So just about everybody from Eastern Virginia. Actually, if we want to even extend this down, I'll go down into North Carolina. But you see, just about everybody in the eastern half of the United States has gotten at least 2 inches of rain in the last 14 days, and quite a few areas of geography have gotten at least 5 inches of rain. Most of Central and South Jersey, Long Island, not all of Long Island, but a good chunk of Nassau and West Suffolk, New York City, the lower Hudson Valley, Northeast New Jersey, almost all of Connecticut, all of Massachusetts, going back to about Albany. So solid rainfalls. And by the way, these numbers do not include what has fallen. This is only through this morning, so nothing that's happened today is part of this. So we'll take a look at what this looks like tomorrow. But the rainfall here in the last couple of weeks has been um, quite impressive.
I'll tell you what, and I don't know if it's not because we have not seen an exceptional amount of rainfall here where I live.
No, you're in a
But
hole on
the
this
fact
map.
is, yeah,
You're
but the
like
fact
you're
is
like in
that
the
it has
you're
been,
like on the 3 inch zone.
yeah, only 3 inches. But the thing is that it has been so very humid here in the last 10 or 12 days. And I don't know if I'm supposing that the grass, for example, my front lawn, I mean, I worked on it both Friday and Saturday. Already now it's Monday. Already I think it looks shaggy. It's grown so much just over the last 2 or 3 days. Renata's tomato plants, they were just little sprouts like 2 3 weeks ago. The damn things now are like 6 feet high already in some
Nice.
cases. I mean, like everything is growing so well. Actually, that's an exaggeration. The sticks that I hope put in for her, which she ties the plant, the vine
Right.
onto. They're about 6 or 7 feet high. But the tomato plants themselves have grown so much in just such a short period of time. It has to be because the air is just so humid.
Oh,
It's
sure.
it's crazy.
Oh, sure.
You break a sweat just by stepping outside.
I actually have tomatoes on the vine that are almost ready to go. They're starting to ripen. I got 6 of them, and I only have 1 tomato plant that I planted in a big pot on my porch because I have a lot of trees where I am, so and also the soil is a very heavy clay soil, so I really need a tiller to kind of bring up the ground a little bit, and I decided that I wasn't doing that. So I put everything in big pots, and that worked out fine. But yeah, the dew points have been ridiculous. If you look, day after day now, how many days in a row have we're at the point where we're getting 70 degree dew points or higher almost every single day in the last at least in the last 7 days.
I mean, I honestly looking, and again, you take this with a grain of salt because I'm going out now past 200 hours on the GFS. But honestly, if you take all of this at face value, the next time we're going to get any kind of a decent airflow from Canada with lower humidity around here may not be until about the middle of next week. And to get that, we may have to go through some kind of a trough of an upper level trough or even a closed off. How many? I can't believe we're in the throes of summer, and this looks like it's going to be like the 3rd or 4th time that we're going to have, according to the GFS, a closed system of
Yeah,
2 or 3 cutoff
I got
over the
that.
northeastern United States.
I'm looping it right now. This trough was supposed to just come through and bring another one of those nice shots of lower humidity when we were looking at this a day or two ago, yesterday. And of course, on the very next run, it changed. And now, I didn't look at the European yet, but now if you look at the GFS, the trough comes down over the weekend and stretches. Most of the energy goes out. You see it there east of James Bay and just kind of flies out across Labrador. The bottom of the trough just stretches out. And yeah, I mean, it forms a cutoff low. And we saw, this is probably the 3rd time this has happened in the last 5 weeks. Uh, we saw something like this actually happen going into the 4th of July weekend. But you got this upper low that's dropping down and cutting off in central Pennsylvania, and it's going to take a couple of days to get this out of the way. This is going to be problematic in terms of the weekend forecast and early next week. You could get a frontal boundary to stall and waves moving along it that are going to bring more rain here if this verifies.
And the ground is so saturated. I mean, there's just so much moisture, and that's going to, you get any kind of a strong wind event, that's going to, any tree that is, weakened by that extremely moist soil, that tree's going to come down because of all the
Oh yeah,
all the wet
absolutely.
weather. So it's
And you know
crazy.
what? Flash flood watches are going to be a regular thing on any days that we're going to have any hint of other than pop-up storms. If there's any hint of widespread activity, those flash flood watches are going to go up almost automatically. And if we take a look, by the way, out in on the GFS on the whole upper air, you start off with this heat ridge in the southwest and a ridge off the east coast. Now this is one of the we just got basically look at this. It's just a deep tropical flow coming up, straight from the southwest Atlantic up the eastern seaboard with troughing, in the middle, and then you've got this, big heat ridge that's sitting down in the southwest. Canada's, the jet stream in Canada is well to the north, and notice the heat ridge in the west kind of flattens out later this week, and that's good news for those folks. Here in the east, still leaving a little bit of ridging here too. The ridge kind of flattens out, but the trough never really comes all the way down. And you get this cutoff that forms. And then after it lifts out, if this is correct, after it lifts out, which would be sometime later Monday or early Tuesday, then we probably could get a couple of days of lower dew points Wednesday and Thursday of next week before that trough pulls out. And then another ridge builds in the southeastern part of the United States. So, yeah, it's if you're looking for some relief that lasts more than a couple of days, you've got a long wait ahead of you.
Yes, in fact, on the GFSX, this is the tabular extended outlook of the GFS that takes us all the way out to a week from tomorrow. They give numbers for temperature and for probability of rain and whatnot. They have dew point numbers, and and there are 15. There's a row now, 15 different dew point projection figures from now until a week from tomorrow morning, and the average of the 15 for the New York area, for New York City, 66.53. In other words, it's going to be right there, right in the middle of the muggy regime. Thankfully, not in the 70s, but still humid enough to make it rather uncomfortable for a very long stretch of time. And as you just said, Joe, maybe by about, a week from tomorrow morning, we just might see the beginnings of a break in the pattern of unending 60 plus dew point temperatures. It actually drops a week from tomorrow on the tabular readings here to 59, if that's much of a change or much of a break. That's the best we can be promised over the next 7 days or so.
Well, 59 would be a gift, actually.
Yes.
I have the surface with the rainfall, so the eastern part of the U.S. is just going to continue to deal with these showers and storms from day to day. This is not what the radar is supposed to look like. I'm using this version because you can see the isobars better here, the tropical tidbits on this map. The isobars show up better. And you see the problem for tomorrow with that high over Nova Scotia, and you've got that ocean flow into New England and into Long Island. That is the reason why the severe weather is set up the way it is. If you look here for tomorrow evening, your high is sitting over Nova Scotia, so your frontal boundary is kind of like this. Coming down New York State, across Long Island, I may actually have it a little bit too far to the east, but you get the idea. And so the showers and storms tomorrow, Jersey westward, Pennsylvania. You can also see showers and storms down through Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, down to Maine, into Mississippi, over Florida. Then the next wave, as we move into Wednesday, Joe, it looks like the warm front, at least on the GFS, wants to go far enough north. We'll see if that's the case. If it is, it's going to be a hot, humid day with thunderstorms again, afternoon and evening. Thursday might be the one day where thunderstorm activity will be at a minimum because we're kind of in a southwest flow and doesn't look like we have any upper troughs coming through. And then as that next trough drops down from Canada, it kind of lines up Saturday morning just to our north, and then it just sort of sinks just to our south by Saturday evening. And then you got wave after wave that goes by, and it's not until the third wave, Monday night and Tuesday, that when that goes by, then Wednesday into Thursday, you get what looks like some reasonable improvement. And the thickness actually dropped. The 564 thickness, if this is correct, drops down into southern Delaware. So that would, let me see what the dew point map looks like with this. That ought to be interesting. Let's see. Well, this is like next Friday, by the way. Let's see what the dew points are. Oh, look at this, Joe. They got dew points in the 50s all the way down into Southern Virginia by next Friday morning. It actually drops off before that. Thursday, let me go back a couple of days here. Come on, maps, load.
Now you're talking about not this Friday, but the following Friday.
The following Friday, correct. Actually, the dew points actually start to drop as early as start to drop a bit later next Monday and Monday night, but you have to wait for that last wave to go by. So you start to get into dew points in the 50s and kind of keeping them in the 50s beginning Wednesday night and then lasting into Friday of next week. Or even into Saturday of next week. The dew points are looking pretty good. So there's your stretch of relief that lasts 3 days if this run of the GFS is correct.
Well, hopefully that'll transpire. Here in our family, we have a big weekend. Not this weekend, but the following weekend. We're going to finally have all of the wedding festivities that were put off a year for my son and my daughter-in-law happen out on Long Island, and it would be nice to have some comfortable weather after this long stretch of oppressiveness. You don't want to have the humidity, and especially you don't want to have the heat.
Oh, listen,
Uh,
if that verifies, you're gonna have really a decent day. Decent
well, I won't,
humidity.
but it's their day or their weekend, not
Oh, I
mine.
know,
But
but it's
I know,
important, Joe. It's important that you're comfortable.
yes,
You know,
yes, I'm comfortable.
the bride and the groom have to be there. Okay, so you have to be comfortable. So you are
Yes.
comfortable. By the way, the tropics, and this is not a surprise, folks. We're in. If you look back statistically over many years, uh, there's a stretch in the month of July. In June, you have a little bump up in activity because of the fact that you still get these systems that come down from the north, and sometimes they cut off the east coast, and we saw that happen with Tropical Storm Bill. So June actually statistically is probably a shade more active than the first few weeks of July. The activity starts to rev up toward the last 10 days of July, but for the first 20 days of the month, most of the time it's quiet. So Elsa was an aberration from that respect. And right now, there are a couple of tropical waves running around the Atlantic. There's also a couple of upper lows. In fact, there's a big upper low in the central Atlantic. You see it right in the middle of the picture. That's kind of dominating the flow out there. So as long as that upper low is out there, you're not going to get any kind of tropical cyclone development. And you have an upper low off the Florida coast that was obvious on the other loop. This one's taken a while to finish loading its frames. But we go to this picture, you can see the upper low that's off the southeast coast of the U.S., and that's actually generating a lot of the showers and thunderstorms from Georgia back westward. And so that's not going to develop into anything. On the far right of this picture, you see the big upper low, the very big upper low that's out in the Atlantic. And let's see if that other one has loaded all its frames. Nope, it hasn't. I'm sure by the time the show is done, it will have loaded all its frames. But as long as those features are there, particularly the big upper low in the central Atlantic, it's gonna be very difficult to getting. There we go. Finally, it's going to be very difficult to get any kind of tropical cyclone formation out of this.
And Bill Rogers on the chat board is asking about what causes the soil to become acidic. And there are three things that can make for an acidic soil, Bill. First, and the most common, is that the organic matter that's in minerals break down in soil over time and are acidic in nature. They make the soil acidic, and this is common in places like peat bogs, pine forests. Another way that the soil can become acidic is by leaching due to excessive rainfall or irrigation, too much water. And that's certainly something that we have seen a lot of in this sector of the United States. Too much water results in key nutrients such as potassium, calcium, magnesium, all being washed out or leached out from the soil. And another way that soil can become acidic is the use of high nitrogen synthetic fertilizers, which are usually ammonia based and increases the acidity of the soil. So that is what causes acidic soil. I'd have to say that the second reason is the most likely for acidic soil here at this moment in time, which is excessive rainfall, because boy, we have certainly had our fair share of excessive rains. I don't think, Joe, we're going to be seeing the word drought anytime soon in this part of the United States.
Yeah, and also it makes your hydrangeas blue.
Really?
Yeah, if you want to
I didn't
change the
know that.
color of the flowers of your hydrangeas, just add, you get that Miracle Grow acid, the that you usually use for evergreens and that kind of thing. And if you put it, in the water for your hydrangeas, you can actually change the color of your flowers from whatever they are to blue. I learned that trick a long time ago.
We, well, You can also turn blue when it's 30 degrees below zero, but that's a different
Well,
blue.
that's a different sort of blue. There are all sorts of
Yes.
different. There are all sorts different sorts of blue that we can discuss on this show, but it is a family program, so we're
Yes.
not going to go
Yes.
down those particular roads. By the way, I just want to, just condolences to Chuck Cardillo, who's on the chat board tonight. He's had a loss in his family, and we wish him and his family well, and we send him our regards and our sympathies. And he's on the board talking about it, so Joe and I want to acknowledge that. Chuck is a big supporter of this show, and actually, he and I, he messages we message each other every day. So, all the best to your family, Chuck. Okay. Let's move to let's do a little Briller Jeopardy as we take a look. I got the questions today in here somewhere. Oh, where are you? Oh, here they are. We'll give those a chance to show up. Nope, that's the wrong one. I clicked on the wrong one. Hang on a second. Patience, Joe. Patience. It's like technology, Joe. Technology. Here we go. By the way, 130 in Death Valley yesterday, and I don't think it got under 100 at night, which, begs the question, how do you live out there?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Anyhow. All right, so let's do Christmas in July as the theme of Briller Jeopardy today. And the first question is, for Mr. Rayo, since 1869 in La Parc de Central, how many winters have had over 50 inches? And you must answer this within 5.
Oh, I should know this because I've done so much research on winters with 3 inches or less, or that kind of thing. 50 inches. In recent years, well, wait a minute now. 50 inches. I was thinking about that one year we had a stretch with that stretch of 40 inches where we had like 4 in a row. But this is 50 inches.
Right.
I will say, I don't think there'd be more than a third of them that have had 50 inches. I'll say 41. I just on behalf of Tom Seaver.
I would have thought the number was higher. It's only 18.
8 or 18?
18.
18.
Only 18 have had over 50. Now, I bet you your number might have worked if we used 40 instead of 50. But 18 is the number. And I know that number is higher for Long Island, so but 18 is it. Now, this next question, Joe, is almost impossible to guess, but if you do guess it correctly, you and Renato will have your driveway shoveled for the rest of your natural lives. And maybe and maybe even your unnatural lives. So since 1869, there has been only one instance where back-to-back winters received the exact amount of snow. Okay, guess the amount and guess the years. And it occurred sometime between 1900 and 1950.
You know who would know this off the top of his head is Rob Friedowitz, who does an amazing job with.
But this is not the Joe and
This is not
the Joe and Ron show. This is the Joe and Joe show.
Rob, not Ron.
Rob, I'm sorry.
All right. All right. So what was the question again?
There has been only one instance
on consecutive years
where you had back-to-back winters receiving the exact same amount of snow. So you have to guess the years, and then you have to guess the amount.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, that's why he said it was almost impossible for you to get.
1946 and 47, 62.77 inches.
Well, it was 1915-16 and 1916-17. Both winters recorded 50.7 inches.
Wow.
That's 2 of those 18 winters where it went over 50. Okay, what was the lowest temperature last winter within 2? at Le Parc?
Oh, I'd say it was a modest low temperature. I'd say 22.
14.
14?
14.
When did it get to 14 last winter? Oh, wait a minute. When you say last winter, you said the winter of 1920 or 2021?
No. 20. Most recent winter, 2021.
Oh, see, I'm thinking about 1920. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, 2021. 14.
Sorry. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I would believe 14.
okay. And question 4, and the final question is: how much snow fell in the park in February 2021 within 3 inches?
Well, that was our big month, wasn't it?
Yes.
Within 3 inches.
Right.
I'd say we went to town in February. I'll say I'm trying to remember the exact amount for the February 1st storm, and then I know we had a couple of others that added on to that. I will say 20,
26.
26.
Right. So you had to be within 3.
Man.
So 20.
So I guess I'm not going to get my driveway shoveled.
No, you're not going to get your driveway shoveled this time around. By the way, you just reminded me too. Let me check. Let's see what's going on in Furnace, California. Hang on one second. Where, by the way, we've got heat advisories all over the place there. So let's see if I can pull up what some of the current temperatures are. I'm going to just bring up the actual station. I'll put my little thing on Death Valley. And it's 6 p.m. there. So 6:12 at the Visitor Center at Furnace Creek, Death Valley. The temperature is 122. The dew point 49. Humidity 9%. A west-southwest wind at 2 miles per hour. And the heat index is actually lower than the temperature, Joe. It feels like it's 117.
Oh, well.
And
dry heat.
Let's just see really quick. Now, I just hit, I love when you hit on a link. It's supposed to give me the 3-day weather history. So let's bring up the 3-day weather history.
Did you say that was for the visitor center?
Yes. Okay, so the
I'm trying to imagine what.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to imagine what the visitor center looks like at Death Valley.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's air. Maybe they just have a ceiling fan. I don't know. 126 was the high there today. I'm just looking at yesterday. Now this is the visitor center. So 127 was the high yesterday. 127 the high the day before. Let me see if there's a multiple stations in Death Valley. Maybe there's like not so Death. Okay, so there's Death Valley Junction, Death Valley Junction Historic District, Death Valley Museum. So all these places have OBS. Let me try this one. Death Valley, California, INYO Canyon. No, it gives you the Visitor Center OB. Let's try again. Death Valley. Let's go to the Death Valley Museum.
Oh, God.
What? What?
I'm reading an article here on the internet. This is from NBC 26 Green Bay.
Right.
Tourists flock to Death Valley for pictures with 130-degree thermometer reading.
Oh, yeah, I did see something about that. Yeah. I did see something about that. People do the strangest things, especially now with social media, because now they can get all sorts of attention by doing it.
What is it like to experience near 130-degree heat and direct sunlight? As with most things these days, your iPhone knows. Used for less than 10 minutes in the oppressive heat of Death Valley, the phone shuts down with an urgent warning. Quote, iPhone needs to cool down before you can use it.
So does the human that's holding it.
Yes. My legs are burning, said Jenny Carey of Green Bay, Wisconsin. She said Tuesday outside the Furnace Creek Visitor Center, describing a sensation that feels like microscopic pinpricks coating your body.
Ew. Ew. Yeah, no, that's an ew
The
moment.
couple, I've now felt 127 degrees up to 40 degrees below, said Jenny's husband, Mike. The couple drove their family here from Las Vegas after hearing about the record heat. In other words, they heard about the record heat and they drove specifically to be there so they can stand in front of a stupid sign that says
Oh, they have lost Joe here temporarily. Just took a internet hit.
Joe Harrington of Aurora, Illinois, who made the impromptu drive from Las Vegas.
Well, people will do anything for attention. By the way, my internet's going unstable, so maybe those storms coming up from the south are getting closer. So let's wrap it up and say goodbye. Thanks everybody for being here. Now tomorrow night, are we back to 7:30 tomorrow night? And then
7:30, and then 8:30 on Wednesday.
All right, Bill Rogers wants me to post a delicious I don't have a video of it. I took pictures of it. And it was incredibly delicious. It's very complicated. You know what? You got send me your email. Have somebody show you how to compose an email, and send it to send me an email so I have your email address. I'll gladly write the recipe out for you. But it was fantastic. In fact, I made so much of it that I'm going to probably be eating some every day for the next 10 days. So you do that. I'll gladly write out the recipe for you. Or I would just say take any eggplant recipe and just substitute zucchini for it. Just make sure you slice it the long way, and not the short or the long way, and not the other way. So you get those little slices. You want long slices. So you cut it from the side. And I mixed zucchini with yellow squash. So it was terrific. So anyhow, you guys, you do that.
CB reports on the chat board. Northeast Philadelphia. I think the 3-letter code is PNE.
PNE, yeah.
Northeast Philadelphia ended up with 10 inches of rain today.
Wow.
You remember, Joe? Was it a week ago? Was it a week ago or 10 days ago that I said that we're moving into the kind of a pattern where somebody is going to get one of these crazy days where it's going to be like 8 and 10 inches of rain? There you go, right there. There's Northeast Philadelphia, ending up with close to a foot of rain, and that's you have enough moisture in the air.
It's going to do it. No, Christinapedia, Joe Rayo does know how to compose an email. I wasn't telling Joe to compose the email. Bill Rogers is going to email me. I don't think Bill knows how to compose an email. He already says he's going to ask his wife to do it. So send me an email, and I will gladly write out the recipe for you, or any recipe of anything I've done. Okay. And anybody else that wants it.
Bill says it's okay. If okay, I'll work on it with my wife.
Yes, please do. Please do. All right. So we'll see everybody tomorrow. We'll see everybody tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern time, and Wednesday at 8:30 Eastern time, and Thursday back to 7:30. Okay. So have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Night, everybody.